In the last episode, we successfully poured our ICF walls with concrete. We installed the floor joists. We also cut and installed the bridging for more support, and plywood subfloor to complete the first floor deck. We also tamped and backfilled the excavated dirt up against our foundation walls. All of this effort set the stage for Smitty to show us his framing expertise. Before we get to framing the first floor exterior walls, we have to finish up the garage foundation. We talked in an earlier episode about choosing ICF so Smitty and I could survive this build, but the garage foundation was only a 4-foot dig and it would save us a good chunk of change to go with cement block. When we were finishing up the last course on the foundation, Smitty made a profound comment. He said, "Never underestimate another person's profession." Every portion of construction has a learning curve. Laying block always finds a way to be a humbling experience. To build this wall, we kept it simple. We had a mortar mixer whose job was to keep replenishing the mix for the 2 laying block. We would butter the block and joint with mortar and used a braided string line to keep each block at a consistent height. Now, we don't have the speed and the moves of a professional stonemason, but we used up 2 rain days and the wall finished up level and true. We're ready to get sill plates on this and frame the first 4 walls. To frame this house, Smitty's goal is to race to the roof. The faster we get to waterproofing and shingling the roof, the faster we can have a dry building and coordinate with subcontractors like electricians and HVAC. That means we will concentrate on just the structural components. With our bearing and exterior walls, we start by constructing them on the ground. We place a stud every 16 inches unless there's an opening for a window or door. After all the work we put in to get permits and a true foundation, it feels great lifting our first wall. After we lifted the wall, we used rack and plumb braces to ensure the wall was secured in the wind and safe to start building the second floor. The L-studs that you see at each end of this wall and in the middle where I'm standing are there as a nailing base for connecting walls and an anchor for drywall. In the window and door openings, we need to add a header that goes above the window or door. A header is a beam that disperses the structural load to the outside of the opening to keep structural integrity. Otherwise, the load from the roof, floor, or whatever is above can lead to stress that can cause cracks or even bigger problems. We decided to add the headers after standing up the walls, strictly because it would be too heavy for 2 old dogs, me and Jenna, to lift the completed wall safely.
On the road, headed back to New Orleans, driving in the country past old-timey scenes. Big birds were singing in the tall willow tree, mighty fine. 3 words written on a paper bag, I miss you, was written in a message in black. Thrown in a van to 1,000 miles back, a better time. And how many souls and times that I've told of places that I'd wanna be, and how many days when I could have stayed instead of just getting up to leave.
Remember when I said we thought the walls would be too heavy with the headers added in the wall? Here's proof that we were right.
Two. Go ahead. 1, 2, 3. Arm straight. 1, 2, 3, go. Go, 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 go.
There's probably some framers that weren't happy to see this, but we've got a fix for this when we get to the second floor.
2 pictures buried in a guitar case, underneath the music sheets all over the place. I caught a glimpse of the sweetest girl's face I ever knew, and how many souls and times that I've told.
With the sill plates on our new block wall foundation installed, it's time to frame the garage walls. We had to construct these walls a little bit differently. We decided to frame the walls on the first floor deck and transport them through the front yard. Building these walls in the unfinished garage space would have been difficult. After moving 2 sections of the garage walls, we got even smarter and transported the walls with the lift. There's some long and hot days out here. Working a little smarter than harder can really change the day. Speaking of working smarter, who needs a ladder, right? Here we are installing the garage window header. The shorter studs that I'm placing the header on are called jack studs. They're used as additional support for the header. Next, we had to frame the garage doors themselves. Look at the size of these headers. Both of the headers are 16.5 feet wide and will disperse the load for both of our 16-foot garage doors. With the first floor and garage walls complete, it's time to install the steel for the second floor. The steel we are setting in the garage is 39 feet long and will require a column in the middle of our 4-car garage. The decision to use steel above our garage was based off of 2 things. First, using steel and conventional lumber for our second floor joists is much cheaper than man-made TJIs that would reach the span of our garage. Second, the lumber company made a comment that their lead time for TJIs was anywhere from 6 weeks to never showing up. Halting our project for that long would be irresponsible. To set the steel above the garage, we used a similar approach as episode 9. We placed Bobby on the tagline to keep the steel parallel, and Dave and Matt guided the steel into the notch. Now that our first floor walls are framed and the steel is set above the garage, we made the decision to pour our garage slab. Pouring the slab now will allow us to set a temporary column in the garage that supports the 39-foot steel beam above. And getting the slab poured now is a big task that only gets harder to achieve as the build goes on. We started with using some 3/4 stone to get the height we needed. With this, they purposely kept a channel in the middle in order to place rebar for strength through the center. Next was calling the concrete cavalry. Thompson and Foster, who helped pour our ICF walls, made another appearance and put on a show. This story is not just about building this house. This story also has to do with Amy and I moving back closer to our people. If you've been following along, you've probably noticed our crew got a little bit bigger. Bob and Matt have worked with Smitty a lot through the years. They decided to join the build with a gentleman's agreement that we would trade time and help them raise a roof next summer. Working with these two removes any concern about a budget, compensation, or bottom lines. These two remind you the whole story isn't just about building a house. It's also about being with your people. Thanks, Bob and Matt. We couldn't win this race to the roof without you.
Next time on Let's Build a House.
Tapping with my finger on the window. You keep